3 billion people live within the APEC economies, 3 billion. If you take the world estimation, which is 16% of the world's population are persons with disabilities, let's apply that 16% on the 3 billion. That's around 480 million persons with disabilities in the APEC economies. The question is, how many of that 480 million are, one, integrated into our economies, but are, two, marginalized from our system and society at large, and not even considered across all of these different things, like I mentioned, like climate action, trade, AI, etc. 30% globally, the employment rate of persons with disabilities is 30%. So if you're looking at 30% of persons with disabilities are employed, how many are really not even contributing to the economy? And that's not because we don't want to contribute, that's because there's so many barriers within the system for us to even be able to participate and be at the table. Many people will turn to us and say, oh, well, Sara, just bring up a seat to the table if you're not invited. Well, for us as persons with disabilities, if infrastructure, communication, technology is not accessible for us, we're not going to even be able to access the table to share our perspective and voices. So for us, on one hand, as APEC economies are addressing these global challenges like climate action, etc., how do we, one, ensure that we're not further marginalizing persons with disability, the 480 million persons with disabilities, by not including them to the table, but on the other hand, how to make sure we're tapping into their contribution, tapping into the value that they can bring forward. How do we really get society at large to see disability more than a social protection side, right? Right now, if you think about it, whenever I travel to a country, a lot of times I say I want to meet with government agencies on disability, always Ministry of Social Affairs, Social and Labor Affairs. But it's more than that. It's the Ministry of Tourism thinking about this, Ministry of Transportation, Ministry of Trade, right? How do we really get all agencies to be thinking about this? This goes back to narrative. This goes back to, one, how do we really have the difficult conversations where we're left out? This goes back to a point of, two, how do we really get society at large to see the holistic, multi-layered aspect that disability is more than just a social protection? Second, how do we invite people to the table who are not thinking about disability? Right now, we tend to talk to each other, agree, but who should be hearing this message that's not thinking about this message? But then also, how do we create more shared responsibility? I think that shared responsibility is really important. In order for shared responsibility to really happen, we also need to show how it gets done and how people can, every single agency, every single sector can carry this work forward in their own way. We need more research and data to showcase that, one, when we're excluding disability from our economies across all these different sectors, how does it impact our society? How does it impact our economy? How are we losing out? We need more research on that and more data on that to really illustrate that. And on the other hand, how do we showcase that when persons with disabilities are brought forward to these different sectors, we bring also our own innovation, contribution, and value? We need research on those two layers. The question we're always asking, my team and I, is how do we make sure other people carry that work forward for the long run? And research, data, and showing the value that disability inclusion brings forward.